feels good. Come up to the fire, ladies.
I'm not cold.
Now, Mr. Hale, before we move things about, you explain to Mr. Henderson here just what you saw when you came here yesterday morning.
By the way, has anything been moved? Are things just as you left them yesterday?
It's just the same. When it dropped below 0 last night, I thought I'd better send Frank out to make a fire for us. They used getting pneumonia with a big case on. But I told him not to touch anything except the stove, and you know Frank.
Somebody should have been left here yesterday.
Oh, yesterday, when I sent Frank to Moore Center for that man who went crazy. I want you to know, I had my hands full yesterday. I knew you could get back from Omaha about today, and as long as I went over everything here myself.
Well, Mr. Hale, tell now just what happened when you got here yesterday morning.
Harry and I had started to town with a load of potatoes. As we came along the road from my place, I said I'm going to see if I can't get John Wright to go in with me on a party telephone. I spoke to Wright about it once before, but he put me off, saying folks talk too much anyway, and all he asked for was for peace and quiet. I guess you know about how much he talked himself. But I thought maybe if I went to the house and talked about it before his wife, though I said to Harry I didn't know what his wife made much of a difference to John.
Let's talk about that later, Mr. Hale. I do want to talk about that, but tell now just what happened when you got to the house.
I didn't hear or see anything. I knocked at the door and still was all quiet inside, and I knew they must be up. It was past 8 o'clock, so I knocked again. And I thought I heard somebody say, "Come in." Wasn't sure, not sure yet. But I opened the door, this door, and there in that rocker, said Mrs. Wright.
What was she doing?
She was rocking back and forth. She had her apron in her hand. It was kind of sweetening it.
And how did she look?
Well, she looked queer.
How do you mean queer?
Well, as if she didn't know what she was going to do next and kind of done up.
And how did she seem to feel about your coming?
Well, I don't think she minded one way or other. I said, "How do, Mrs. Wright? It's cold, ain't it?" And she said, "Is it?" And went on kind of putting out her apron. Well, I was surprised she didn't ask me to come to the stove or to sit down and just sat there not even looking at me. So I said, "I want to see John." And she laughed. I guess you could call it a laugh. But I thought of hearing the team outside, so I asked, "Well, ain't he home?" "He's home," said she. "Then why can't I see him?" I asked her. Patience. "'Cause he's dead," says she. "Dead?" says I. She just nodded her head, not getting the slightest bit excited, but rocking back and forth. "Well, why? Where is he?" I asked her, not knowing what else to say. She just pointed upstairs like that. I got up the idea of going up there, walk from there to here, and I says, "Why? Let the guy up." "He'd have a rope around his neck," says she. Well, I went out and called Harry. I figured I might need help. We went upstairs, and Mary was lying.
I think I'd rather have you go into that upstairs, where you can point it all out. Just go on now with the rest of the story.
Well, my first thought was to get the rope off. It looked... But Harry, he went up to him and he said, "No, he's done all right. We better not touch anything." So we came back downstairs, and she was still sitting that same way. "Has anyone been notified, Mrs. Wright?" "No," says she, unconcerned. "Who did this, Mrs. Wright?" said Harry. He said it businesslike, and she stopped cleaning up her apron. "I don't know," says she. "You don't know?" says Harry. "No," says she. "Weren't you sleeping in the same bed with him?" says Harry. "Yes," says she. "But I was on the inside." "You're meaning to tell me that somebody slipped a rope around his neck and strangled him, and you didn't wake up?" "I didn't wake up." "We must look as if we didn't see how that could be, for after a minute," she said, "I sleep sound." Harry wanted to ask her more questions, but I said maybe we ought to let her tell her story to the coroner first. So Harry went as fast as he could to the Rivers' place, where there was a telephone.
And what did Mrs. Wright do when she knew you had gone for the coroner?
She got up from this chair and sat in this one right here, with her hands held together looking down. I had a feeling I ought to make some kind of conversation, so I said I'd come to see if John wanted to put in a telephone. She started to laugh. And stopped and looked at me. Scared. I don't know, maybe he wasn't scared. I wouldn't like to say it was. And soon Harry got back, then Dr. Lloyd came, and you, Mr. Peters. So I guess that's all that I know that you don't.
I guess we'll go upstairs first, and then out to the barn and around there. You're convinced that there's nothing important here, nothing that would point to any motive.
Nothing here but kitchen things.
Oh. Here's a nice mess.
Her fruit. It did freeze. She worried about that when it turned so cold. She said the fire'd go out and her jars would break.
Well, can it beat the women? Held for murder and worrying about her preserves.
I guess before we're through, she may have something more serious than preserves to worry about.
Well, I guess women are used to worrying over trifles.
And yet, for all their worries, what would we do without the ladies? Dirty towels. Not much of a housekeeper, would you say, ladies?
Well, there's a great deal of work to be done on a farm.
To be sure, and yet I know there's some Dixon County farmhouses which do not have such roller towels.
Those towels get dirty awful quick. Men's hands aren't always as clean as they might be.
Ah, loyal to your sex, I see. But you and Mrs. Wright were neighbors. I suppose you're friends, too.
No, I've not seen her much of late years. Not been in this house, it's more than a year.
And why was that? You didn't like her?
Well, I liked her all well enough. Farmers' wives have their hands full, Mr. Henderson, and then...
Yes.
Well, it never seemed a very cheerful place.
No, it's not cheerful. I shouldn't say she had the homemaking instinct.
Well, I don't know as Wright had either.
You mean they didn't get on very well?
Well, I don't mean anything, but I don't think a place to be any cheerfuler for John Wright's being in it.
I'd like to talk about that a little later. I want to get the lay of the things upstairs now.
Suppose anything Mrs. Peters does will be all right. She was to take in some clothes for her, you know, and a few little things. We left in such a hurry yesterday.
Yes, but I would like to see what you take, Mrs. Peters. And keep an eye out for anything that might be of use to us.
Yes, Mr. Henderson. I'd hate to have men coming into my kitchen, snooping around and criticizing. Of course, it's no more than their duty. Oh, well, duty's all right, but I guess the deputy sheriff that came out to make the fire might have got a little of this on. You know, I wish I'd thought of that sooner. Seems mean to talk about her for not having things slicked up when she had to come away in such a hurry. She had bread set. Oh. She was going to put this in there. You know, it's a shame about her fruit. I wonder if it's all gone. Let's see here. Oh, wait, I think there's some here that's still all right. Ah, yes, here. Oh, this is cherries, too. I declare I believe it's the only one. She'll feel awful bad after all her hard work in the hot weather. I remember the afternoon I put up my cherries last summer.
Well, I must get those things from the front room closet. You coming with me, Mrs. Hale? You can help me carry them.
My, it's cold in here. Wright was close. I suppose that's why she kept so much to herself. She wasn't even a part of the Ladies' Aid. I suppose she felt she couldn't do her part, and then, of course, you don't enjoy things when you feel shabby. Oh, she used to wear pretty clothes and be lively when she was Minnie Foster, one of the town girls singing in the choir, but, oh, that was 30 years ago. This all you was to take in?
She said she wanted an apron. Funny thing to want, for there isn't much to get you dirty in jail, goodness knows. But I suppose just to make her feel more natural. She said there was in the top drawer in this cupboard. Yes, here. And her little shawl that always hung behind the door. Yes, here it is.
Mrs. Peters?
Yes, Mrs. Hale?
Do you think she did it?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I don't think she did. Asking for an apron and her little shawl? Worrying about her fruit?
Mr. Peters says it looks bad for her. Mr. Henderson is awful sarcastic in his speech, and he'll make fun of her saying she didn't wake up.
Well, I'll bet Wright didn't wake when they was slipping that rope under his neck.
No, it's strange. It must have been done awful crafty still. They say it was such a funny way to kill a man, rigging it all up like that.
That's just what Mr. Hale said. There was a gun in the house. He says that's what he can't understand.
Mr. Henderson said coming out that what was needed for the case was a motive, something to show anger or sudden feeling.
Well, I don't see any signs of anger around here. It's white to here. I wonder how they're finding things upstairs. I hope she had it a little more read up there. You know, it seems kind of sneaking, locking her up in town and then coming out here and trying to get her own house to turn against her.
But Mrs. Hale, the law is the law.
Suppose it is. Better loosen up your things, Mrs. Peters. You won't feel them when you go out. Oh. She was piecing a quilt. Oh. It's log cabin pattern. Pretty, isn't it? I wonder if she was going to quilt it or just knot it.
They wonder if she was going to quilt it or just knot it.
Well, Frank's fire didn't do much up there, did it? Let's go out to the barn and get that cleared out.
I don't know, is it so strange, us taking up our time with the little things while we're waiting for them to get that evidence? I don't know, is it anything to laugh about?
Of course, they've got awful important things on their minds.
Oh. Mrs. Peters, look here. This is the part she was working on. And look at it. All the rest of it has been so nice and neat, and look at the sewing, it's all over the place. Why, it looks as if she didn't know what she was about.
What are you doing? Mrs. Hale?
I'm just pulling out a stitch or two that's not sewed very good. Bad sewing always made me fidgety.
Well, I don't think we ought to touch things.
I'll just finish up this loose end. Mrs. Peters?
Yes, Mrs. Hale?
Why do you suppose she was so nervous?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know as she was nervous. I sometimes sew awful queer when I'm just tired. Well, I must get these things wrapped up. They may be through sooner than we think. I wonder where I can find a piece of paper and string.
Oh, in that cupboard, maybe?
Why, here's a bird cage. Did she have a bird, Mrs. Hale?
Well, I don't know if she did or not. Well, there was a man around last year selling canaries cheap. I don't know if she took one. Maybe she did. She used to sing real pretty herself.
Seems funny to think of a bird in here, but I suppose she must have had one, or why would she have the cage? I wonder what happened to it.
I suppose the cat got it?
No, she didn't have a cat. She got that feeling some people get about cats, being afraid of them. My cat got in her room and she was real upset and asked me to take it out.
Oh, my sister Bessie was like that. Queer, ain't it?
Why, look at the door. It's broke. One hinge is pulled apart.
Looks as if someone was rough with it.
Why, yes.
I wish if they were going to find any evidence, they'd be done with it soon. I don't like this place.
But I'm awful glad you came with me, Mrs. Hale. It would have been lonesome for me sitting here alone.
Oh, it would, wouldn't it? But I tell you what I do wish. I wish I'd come around once in a while when she was here. I wish I had.
Of course, you were awful busy, Mrs. Hale. Your house and your children.
Oh, I could have come. I stayed away because it weren't cheerful. And that why I ought to have come. I've never liked this place. Maybe because it's down in a hollow and you don't see the road, but it's a lonesome place and always was. I should have come over to see Minnie Foster sometimes. I can see now.
You mustn't reproach yourself, Mrs. Hale. Somehow we just don't see how it is with other folks until something comes up.
You know, no children. He must have made less work, but he makes a quiet house. And with Wright out to work all day and no company when he did come in. Do you know John Wright, Mrs. Peters?
Not to know him, I've seen him in town. They say he was a good man.
Yes, good. Well, he didn't drink and kept his word as well as most and paid his debts on time. But he was a hard man, Mrs. Peters. Just to pass the time of day with him. Like a raw wind that gets to the bone. I should think she would have wanted a bird, but what do you suppose went with it?
I don't know. Unless it got sick and died.
You weren't raised around here, were you? You didn't know her?
Not till they brought her in yesterday.
She? And come to think of it, she was kind of like a bird herself. Real sweet and pretty, but kind of timid and fluttery. How she did change. Tell you what, Mrs. Peters, why don't you take the quilt in with you? It'll take up her mind.
I think that's a real nice idea, Mrs. Hale. There couldn't possibly be any objection to it, could there? Now, just what would we take? I wonder if her patches are in here and her things.
Well, here's some red. I expect this has got sewing things in it. My, what a pretty box. Looks like something someone might give to you. Suppose her scissors are in here. Oh, there's something wrapped up in this piece of silk.
Why, this isn't her scissors.
Mrs. Peters, it's
the bird.
But Mrs. Peters, look at its neck. It's all other side too.
Somebody wrung its neck.
Well, ladies, have you decided whether she's going to quilt it or knot it?
We think she was going to knot it.
Well, that's interesting, I'm sure. Has the bird flown?
We think the cat got it.
Is there a cat?
Well, not anymore. They're superstitious, you know. They leave.
No sign at all of anyone having come from the outside. Their own room. Now, let's go up again and go over it piece by piece. It would have to have been someone who knew just the...
She liked the bird. She was going to bury it in this pretty box.
When I was a girl, like Kaitlyn, there was a boy took a hatchet and before my eyes, before I could get there, if they hadn't held me back, I would have
hurt him.
I wonder how it would have seemed to have never had children. No, Wright wouldn't like a bird. A thing that sang. She used to sing He Killed That Too.
We don't know who killed the bird.
I knew John Wright.
It was an awful thing that happened in this house, Mrs. Hale. Killing a man while he slept and slipping a rope around his neck that choked the life out of him.
His neck choked the life out of him.
We don't know who killed him. We don't.
If there had been years and years of silence and then a bird to sing to you, it must have been awful still. After the bird was still.
I know what stillness is. When we were homesteading in Dakota and my first baby died and he was only 2 years old and me with no other.
How soon do you suppose they'll be through looking with the evidence?
I know what stillness is. The law has got to punish crime, Mrs. Hale.
I wish you would have seen Minnie Foster when she'd wear that white dress with the blue ribbons and she'd stand up there with the town choir and sing. Oh, I should have come around once in a while. That was a crime. That was a crime. Who's going to punish that?
We mustn't take on.
You know, I might have known that she needed help. I know how things can be for women. I tell you, it's queer, Mrs. Peters. We live close together and we live far apart. We all go through the same things. It's just a different kind of the same thing. If I were you, I wouldn't tell her her fruit was gone. Tell her it ain't. Tell her it's all right. Take this in with you to prove it to her. She may never know whether it was gone or not.
My, it's a good thing the men couldn't hear us. Wouldn't they just laugh? Getting all stirred up over a little thing like a dead canary, as if that could have anything to do with wouldn't they laugh? Maybe they would. Maybe they wouldn't.
No, Peters, it's all perfectly clear except for a reason for doing it. But you know juries when it comes to women. If there was some definite thing, something to show, something to make a story about, a thing that would connect up with this strange way of doing it.
Well, I've got the team around. It's pretty cold outside.
I'm going to stay here a while by myself. You can send Frank out for me, can't you? I'm not satisfied that we can't do better.
Do you want to see what Mrs. Peters is going to take in?
Oh, I guess they're not very dangerous things the ladies have picked out. No, Mrs. Peters doesn't need supervising. For that matter, a sheriff's wife is married to the law. Ever think of it that way, Mrs. Peters?
Not just that way.
Married to the law. Well, I just want you to come in here a minute, George. We ought to take a look at these windows.
Oh, windows.
We'll be right out, Mr. Hale.
Henry, at least we found out that she was not going to quilt it. She was, what is it you call it, ladies?
We call it not it, Mr. Henderson.